Oh, yeah, baby. Ichabod Shark is on the air right here at WABC Radio New York. The big talker, AM, FM, you name it. Sharky rules it. The world's most watched musician, me, Sharky. The great drummer, but that's what they say. They come up and they're like, well, you're a great drummer. And I'm like, guess what else? I can also masturbate good. Why don't you call me the great masturbator? And they're like, no, don't kid around, Sharky. You're so great on drums. You're such a great drummer. Drummer. I'm like, how about you suck a fucking cock? Right here on the Clark the Shark Show. Yeah, I got #1 songs all over the fucking internet. She's a Bitch, White Black Thing, It Ain't Easy, Brandy, 22nd Street, Coke Snorting. I can go on and on. But in the South Bay, they're like, you're a good drummer. And then some people are like, you're a good singer too, Sharky. You're a good singer. I'm like, you check out Winer's Diner Social Climbers live? That pretty good guitar? And they're like, well, you just got lucky, Sharky. You beefed that up. And I'm all, beefed it up with what? They're like, well, your albums sound really good because you beef them up. And I'm like, what am I, fucking George Martin? Phil Spector? How do I fucking beef them up? They're like, well, your songs aren't that good, Sharky. You're mediocre. You're not that good on guitar. You just got lucky live, Waiting for Your Love to Fail live at the Hermosa Saloon. You just got lucky, Sharky, that night. Winer's Diners, Social Climbers, live in Manhattan Beach. You got lucky there. And anyway, it was only good because Marty Silva was drumming, or Greg Tarpley. And I'm like, wait a minute here. I thought you said me, Sharky. I'm a good drummer. They're like, well, like you are, Sharky. You're like good at that too. I'm like, okay, so you say I'm a good drummer, but then you say Greg Tarpley and Marty are good drummers. And they're like, well, you're all right, Sharky. You're all right at like all kinds of shit. You're like a guy with a bunch of hats, like a Phil Spector, George Martin. You can produce, mix, play guitar, drum, sing, songwriter. Baby, you can do it all. And I'm all, now you're fucking talking, baby. Right here on the Clark the Shark Show, and you're getting it accurate. Finally. And, a lot of you are like, yeah, fuck it. Fucking guy's #1. He's got songs. Yeah, what can I do? I gotta admit it. Sharky is good. Yeah, at fucking age 58, 59, you guys are like, I gotta admit it now, finally, after 50 years, Sharky is good. Rather than tell me I'm good in 1991 or 92 or, back in the day, you fucking wait till I'm 60 to say I'm good. And they're like, well, Sharky, we smoke weed and we vote for Barack Obama and Joe Biden and like we suck our own fucking dick. We can't help it. We forgot about you, Sharky. At 1-800-449-8255 right here on the Clark the Shark Show. But I'm not talking about South Bay douchebags or douchebags from Los Angeles. Fuck them. What do they know anyway? Oh, they're always experts like, oh, dude, that guy Scott? He's such an amazing guitarist. And that guy Glenn, oh, he's so amazing. Dude, you guys are who's fucking amazing in the South Bay? Who? Who's more amazing than thou? Clark the Shark, 1-800-449-8255. Right here from the golden EIB Sharkraphone, given to me by Hush Bimbo, right here on ABC Radio New York. Which one of you little fucking weasels in the South Bay, Redondo, Torrance, Hermosa Beach, Gardena, Palos Verdes, who is better than Clark the Shark among you? Who? None of you. That's who. Well, what are you fucking guys waiting for a record deal? Why don't you start your own shit like I did and get on the internet? And you guys are like, well, that's a waste of time, Sharky. Well, dude, if it's such a waste of time, why do you watch my fucking music all the time? Yeah, I don't get you guys in the South Bay. You're like, Sharky's mediocre. He's not that good. But you guys sit around in Torrance watching my songs and downloading them and buying all my shit. Well, which is it? Well, make up your fucking minds. What is it? What's going on here? You like me? Or you don't like me? Oh, dude, I think you love me right here on the Clark the Shark Show. And today, you love me even more because it's Little Sharky's underground garage. Better than Little Steven, you guys. Because I'm talking about Smiley Smile by the fabulous Beach Boys. 1967, you guys. Now, if you want to talk about a weird album, this is so weird, you guys. Now, this evolves from the project called Smile, which was supposed to be just this huge follow-up to Pet Sounds, but it never happened. It never really got off the ground. It's one of those albums, kind of like Lifehouse by The Who, where it didn't come together. Now, in the case of The Who, they took the best of the Lifehouse sessions and, they handpicked or cherry-picked all the greatest shit. And it ended up being Who's Next, the greatest album by The Who. Quite accidental or maybe intentional or calculated, I don't know. But all I know is that album sounds nothing like The Who before it. It's a total makeover, complete change of sound and direction for and by The Who. This album here, Smiley Smile, is a total re-recording of Smile, the concept album by, the Beach Boys and, Wilson and all that. The Beach Boys are a democracy. They always say Brian Wilson, but everybody does stuff. Dennis Wilson, the great drummer, he got into drugs and shit, and it ruined his drumming. Carl Wilson, of course, all-around talent, does it all, jack of all trades. They're all geniuses, even Mike Love and Al Jardine and that other guy that comes and goes. But they could never really get it all happy on one page in the late 60s. That being said, all the albums are great and incredible, but they didn't sell. But to me, Clark the Shark, that's like a badge of honor. Sometimes if your music doesn't sell very well, it's a sign that it's really fucking killer music and all the pop commercial people just don't understand. And in the case of Smiley Smile, this I want to call it psychedelic, but I can't. It's more weird than psychedelic, you guys. This is really strange. And there are some tracks here from Smile sessions, but this is for some reason the Beach Boys just went back and redid a bunch of shit, re-recorded, or just outright wrote some new ideas for this album. And, a lot of it had to do with the fact that Brian Wilson and Dennis Wilson and probably all the band were on drugs, alcohol, partying during Smile, before, during, and after. And they just couldn't get it together. Late 60s was a rough time for everybody, you guys. Everybody was experimenting with drugs. And it probably didn't help that Brian Wilson was already fucked up. Emotionally, just scarred, from his dad. In the beginning, the guy did not need to add drugs to that. And then he did and really fucked it up even worse. Spent his life in bed and all that shit. I kind of understand the weird dad relationship thing. Because my dad would always say, well, Clark's a great drummer. And then that would filter out into the South Bay. And, then people would go, oh, well, your songs aren't very good. Your singing's good. We got to admit that. Okay. We're trying to keep that under wraps as best we can. But if you always are saying someone's a great drummer, it's going to take away and detract from all that other great shit that they do. And who knows, maybe I made the mistake of drumming a lot with 50 different bands in the South Bay. From the time I was 16, I was playing drums with a punk band or a metal band or a blues band at the Hermosa Saloon or something. And I just got pigeonholed. What's that word? Like stereotyped or typecast, or I don't know. I just got stuck and slammed with the great drummer title. And me, Clark the Shark, I know myself as a great guitar player, lead singer. You know, like one of those guys down at the park playing an acoustic guitar and singing. And every time I would do that, people would be like, no, Sharky, go get on the drums. You got to play your drums. Yeah, so when you guys listen to Addicted and 5 Years and Brandy and She's a Bitch and all those songs, is that what you hear is just a great drummer? The singing on Addicted is me, Clark the Shark. The singing on It Ain't Easy, She's a Bitch, that's Clark the Shark. That doesn't sound like drumming. I admit I do the drumming too, but that's a great singer. Why would you refer to that guy as a great drummer? I mean, I don't go up to people in the South Bay and go, dude, you're a great, you take a great shit. You're great. I'm going to get you some Charmin, or I'm going to go to Stater Brothers and get 1,000 equal to Scott Brand because you take a great shit. Or I don't fucking pigeonhole anyone, you guys. I don't do that shit. Why do you people do that? And all over the country now, in New York, New Jersey, Detroit, Michigan, Seattle, Edmonton, Toronto, there's people I don't even know trying to say I'm a great drummer. I don't even fucking know these people, dude. I'm Clark the Shark. You know, another problem is Phil Keegan, so fucking awesome on guitar, you know, and I was in that shadow in the South Bay trying to play guitar alongside that fucking guy. That's like trying to play alongside Richie Blackmore or Jimmy Page. And of course, you know, for the people who remember in the South Bay, my brother Paul was in the Jades, which was a band that could have made it big, you know, and then my lead singing thing and was in the shadow of that. If you're from Torrance, Redondo Beach, Palos Verdes, Hermosa Beach, you know, Gardena, Manhattan Beach, you know who the Jades were with Paul Higgins, my brother, who died in 2011. He wasn't much of a lead singer, you guys. I'm way better. But he had this skill on stage, like moves like Jagger and David Bowie and Peter Gabriel and Brian Ferry. He was an incredible performer. And me and the Greenhouse Effect, Clark the Shark, I was definitely in the shadow of the PH, Paul Higgins. And it probably hurt my band very much to my detriment. Me and Phil Keegan trying to dig our way out of that hole for years, but we did manage to do it by writing great songs. You know, psychedelic 60s sounding shit. And no doubt we were influenced by the likes of, you know, Brian Wilson and the Beach Boys' Smile, which later evolved into Smiley Smile, right here on Little Sharky's Underground Garage, baby. Better than Little Steven, because I'm from the Golden EIB Sharkerphone. And I don't mean to sound insecure, you guys. I'm very secure. My music's all over the internet. You guys watch it. And you guys enjoy it. Now there are people that are like, oh, you're great, Shark. Everything you do is great. We love you, Shark. Everything's fucking amazing. That actually creeps me out when people say that. If somebody emails me and they're like, you know what? We were wrong. You do everything fucking great, Sharky. You're the greatest. You're the best. And usually they only do that because the next thing is they're like, oh, Sharky, can you help me? Can you produce me? Can you record me? And then can you make a video and get it all over the internet, just like you do for you and GE, the Greenhouse Effect, Sharky. And you're going to do it all for me for free, too. and I'm going to be as big as you, Sharky. And I'm like, no, bro. If you want publicity and hype and payola and all that fucking shit that I, Clark the Shark, do, you got to fucking pay me. And people are like, no, Sharky, now you're being mean. You're being wrong. You should do things for free for me because I'm Dave. I'm your friend, bro, from the South Bay. I'm Jimmy. I'm your bro. Remember me, bro, Sharky from Hermosa Beach? Well, you're going to do fucking free shit for me and my band. And we're going to get as big as you, Sharky. And I'm like, no, you're not, unless you fucking pay me right here at 1-800-449-8255 from the Clark the Shark Show. And if, hey, dude, mail your shit to the big four record labels and see where that gets you. Go to Sony, Tommy Mottola, or Capital EMI, or Geffen. What's that other one? RCA, Arista, all that shit. A&M. If it's still around. I don't even know if A&M's still around. They probably are or aren't. I don't know. But those big four record labels, MCA and all that shit, they only sign liberal people, you guys. So if you have a guy in the band who votes for Trump, you have to fire him, as they have done with me, Clark the Shark. And I'm not even really a real Republican or conservative or guy for Trump or any of that. I'm just a fake liberal. I'm a liberal, you guys. I'm actually a liberal Democrat. The problem with me is I'm not liberal and Democrat enough for liberal Democrats. You got to be totally all with them. You guys, bring in all these people from El Salvador, cut the price of the wages down so that 8 people from Honduras can live in an apartment that now costs $4,000 a month. And then you're on the streets, white guy or black person. Yeah, that's right. You're homeless and walking around Jack in the Box at night amongst Uber drivers and other homeless right here on the Clark the Shark Show, the fabulous, amazing, incredible Sharky Show, the Sharkalama Ding Dong, the Sharkadoodle Doo from the golden EIB Sharkerphone. That's right. You keep voting Democrat and see where it gets you, Taylor Swift. Oh, and you guys are so mad and up in arms today because Trump said fuck NATO and let them defend themselves and quit the fucking United States giving them money all the time. Well, maybe Donald Trump is right. Maybe it's time for Poland and all these fucking countries, Germany, to build their own fucking shit and quit taking money from us, the United States. What's so funny is they all hate the United States anyway. They all come over here, get on our roads and drive 130 miles an hour and get into fatal car wrecks that they learned on the Autobahn. Yeah, they bring that type of driving right here to California, where they tailgate you at 2 a.m. as you're driving on Gopher Canyon between Vista Way and the 15. Don't they, Democrats? Yeah, your driver's licenses you give out to non-citizens and illegal aliens, they don't know how to fucking drive, do they now? I think that's why they tailgate, high beam you, and they drive 100 miles an hour just to go to Target. You ever fucking seen the way these people drive in a parking lot? They're actually really dangerous. And I'll take it a step further. They're actually really racist. They hate white people. And who knows, maybe they even hate our friends in the black community too. I guess that's why they come here and take their jobs. That's right here on the Clark the Shark Show. But I'm not talking about Democrats who fucking welcome foreigners into our country, because after all, Mitt Romney and the Republicans, and maybe even Donald Trump himself, they don't care either. That's why rent is $4,000 a month, because they say, let the free market decide, Sharky. You're just a little loser. What do you know? Come on, Shark, Clark the Shark. You can afford $4,000 a month so that you and your wife can go live next door to 11 people from Costa Rica. Guess what? The 11 people can afford it better and easier than me, Clark the Shark, because there's only 2 of me, but there's 12 of them right here on the Sharkadoodle-Doo Show, the Sharkalema Ding Dong, 1-800-449-8255. But I'm not talking about politics. Fuck that. I'm talking about Smiley Smile by the Beach Boys. Really getting in here, dude. You guys, 1967, Little Sharky's Underground Garage. A magical time back then. I'm sure rent was only $200 a month. Things were cheaper. You know, there was this Vietnam thing happening. There was a lot of social strife and unrest in America, but it was all beautiful, baby, because who knows, maybe it was a much better world then than today, our world in 2024. I would much rather go back and dwell in the beautiful music of 1967 and the Beach Boys than fucking listen to shit like Taylor Swift and Miley Cyrus and all that fucking crap from today. Right here on the Clark the Shark Show, 1-800-449-8255. It's a golden EIB Sharkerphone. It's not a microphone because it was christened and given to me by Bill O'Reilly, you guys. I'm not kidding. The great, very old now. He might even be dead, I'm not sure. But possibly it was the ghost of Bill O'Reilly. He gave me the golden EIB Clark the Shark Sharkerphone. It's not a microphone, you guys, because this show is #1 everywhere. Not just in the solar system, Venus, you know, Jupiter, Mars, Saturn, Judas, Snosberry, Vulcan, Pluto, Neptune, all the planets of the solar system. I'm #1. It's not Howard Stern, baby. It's Clark the Shark. It's not Hannity. It's not Hush Bimbo. It's not Stryker. It's not Kevin and Bean or Jed the Fish. And it's not Mario Lopez or Rick Dees. The only guy who could be #1 on Venus, Mars, Mercury, Earth, Jupiter, Saturn, but especially on Uranus, that could only be Clark the Shark, you guys, where I'm talking about Smiley Smile, the Beach Boys. An incredible album, really weird though. It is so fucking weird. It gets in the way of how good this album really is. Right here on Little Sharky's very underground garage, you guys. This is not really a commercial or pop album. This is underground, and yet I get this really presence when I listen to it. It's got to feel like it's right there in your face, and it's just staring at you. And it's like, listen to me. I'm weird. I'm strange, awkward, clumsy, and I demand both ears. And I'm like, hey, Brian Wilson, hey, Beach Boys, I'm fucking listening right here on the Clark the Shark Show. And not only that, I'm going to review it. I don't really care what the stars say. You know, I'm sure Rolling Stone, you know, loved it, or All Music, and, you know, the usual suspects. Who knows? This might even get good or bad reviews, you guys. They could be all over the place. I mean, look at the long-ass write-up on Wikipedia. It takes forever to get to the stars. Look at these geniuses, you guys. Incredible. They're always on the beach. You know, they didn't surf. I think only Dennis surfed, you guys. But me, Clark the Shark, a little side note here. I used to surf when I was a little kid, and I got really good. But these guys from Palos Verdes would throw rocks at me. And I'm not talking about Lanada Bay, just at Haggerty's. I would try to surf. You know, Haggerty's is really dangerous. There's a lot of rocks anyway out in the water. And I was a pretty good surfer. I'd be out there trying to surf it, you know. And some dude threw a rock. It could have been a guy from Torrance or Rat Beach. I'm not sure. I was only like maybe 12 or 13, late 1970s. And my whole head was bloody. The rock hit me near my eye. I think it was right on my hairline. There's a big scar there today, you guys. And then I don't know how, but I had a cut like under my lip too. It was a big ass rock. It just took me out, and I nearly drowned. I was out in the water at Haggerty's, swam to shore. There's blood all in the water. It was crazy. But I never surfed ever again, you guys, when that happened. I had a surfboard. I was really good at doing weird things nobody did in the 70s, cutbacks and all these moves, like doing ollies, like, dude, shit, people didn't do. And there were people that were like, this Clark the Shark surfer kid is a whiz kid. He's inventing shit out there on the waves. And I really was. I was only like 11, 12 years old. I was a good surfer. I had a short board, and nobody had that in the 70s, you guys. I cut down a board, turned it into a short board, sealed it up, you know how that is, so the board doesn't get water in it and all that with the dings. And then I surfed a short board, you guys. I'm sure the Beach Boys would be proud. But when I got hit in the head by the rock from some guy, I don't know who, from either Torrance or Palos Verdes, I never surfed ever again. Me, Clark the Shark. I'm not kidding. I'm sure some people, would just man up and, buy a gun or a slingshot or a belt or, they'll come down to the beach with a tire iron and be like, I'm going to beat your ass if you dare throw a rock at me or Clark the Shark. But I wasn't like that, you guys. I was just like, forget it. It ain't worth it. If I do surf, it's going to be Torrance or Burnout or Redondo, Topaz. I'm not dare going near Palos Verdes because, dude, that place is dangerous. Those people are really localized, and they will fuck you up. So I never went there ever again, you guys. Long story short, I quit surfing the whole bit, and I took up skateboarding. And I never really got anywhere at that, you guys. It's on the cement, it's kind of dangerous. And that all evolved into music, guitar, drums, bass, singing, keyboards, production, working with Bill Cradell in the studio. And I wanted to be like Brian Wilson, like this guy, so I could get a 4-star review, or it's a 3.5. Looks like a 4 for Smiley Smile. All Music Blender gives it a 5. I don't think this album deserves a 5 or a 4.5, you guys. Rolling Stone is accurate. They give it a 3, you guys. Music Hound gives it a 4.5. The Encyclopedia of Popular Music, a 4 out of 5. Honestly, this album isn't that good, and I think people get this confused with the Smile project. Now, Smile, you guys, anticipated indie. Yeah, Now, of course, there is today a version of Smile, and it includes much of this album. Even though Brian Wilson, he says today that Smiley Smile and Smile are different projects and recordings altogether. And I think he only put them all together because it was all in 1967. Maybe some of it's from late 66, and he just wanted to get all the ducks in a row, And then when they did that next album, Wild Honey, that was a clean slate, where that is a new recording session. And then, of course, all those other albums, Friends, and later on Surf's Up, and all those albums are all awesome. Carl and the Passion, So Tough, awesome. And then later on, Holland, awesome. You guys, incredible. They added the guy from the Ruddles to the band later on. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about Heroes and Villains. What a song. And of course, this is on the expanded version of Smile today. The one where Brian Wilson put the whole story together. It's a double album, I guess, or a double CD. Oh, man, that would be I hope it's on analog and it's on a vinyl, like a double vinyl. I will buy that, you guys. The new expanded and complete version of Smile, where Brian Wilson says it's not Smiley Smile, it's Smile. And these are all the songs. And I'm not sure how many of these from Smiley Smile ended up on Smile, the expanded and completed, now completed version, where Brian Wilson and whoever's left in the band, they all approve of it. That's a killer album, but it's different, you guys, from this. Vegetables, Uh, straight out of the mind of Frank Zappa. Of course, it's all killer here. Fall breaks and back to winter. Woodpecker Symphony. And I love She's Going Bald, killer, and Little Pad. Side one is really weird, you guys. You almost feel like you're on acid or drugs listening to this. You could be totally sober. Kind of like when you listen to Frank Zappa, you feel like you're drunk or you're stoned, and you're not. You're just listening to something so weird, it's getting you all dizzy and weird feeling. And really, that's what these two albums do. Smile, which was never recorded and completed to its perfection in 1967. It was later done today, like 2012 or sometime in the modern day. I'm not sure which year, but it is now complete. Smile. And then this album, Smiley Smile, which is different, but they are connected. They are related. And certainly they are similar right here on the fabulous Clark the Shark Show. Good Vibrations is on the album, I think, to give it that hit song vibe, that status. Trying to, back in the day, maybe they were like, no one's going to remember that this song was already released. It was already recorded way before. Not really, you guys. It does kind of go with the album. And then you could say it stands out and doesn't go, like a sore red thumb. The debate is all over the place, you guys. But when I think of the Beach Boys' Smile and Smiley Smile recording sessions, I do kind of think of Good Vibrations as being a part of that, you guys. Good Vibrations is like all by itself on its own little island. But it ended up here with these songs, With Me Tonight, Wind Chimes, Getting Hungry, Wonderful, Whistle In. You just got to hear side two. It's as weird as side one, you guys. Psychedelic, yeah, but weird, more, yeah. Great music, though, very listenable. You can sit there in a hot bath and listen to side 1 and 2 of this. I would prefer that you just get the expanded, completed version of the original album Smile that was done in the modern day today in the 2000s. I think it was 2012 or 2013. I'm not sure. It might be 2015. But whenever it was, I want you to buy that album and buy this album. You can compare the two. They're both psychedelic. They're both weird, very fucked up. This is weird to the point where, like, Frank Zappa would blush, you guys. I'm not kidding. He's weirder, but he's the only thing weirder than this. I mean, this is just so bizarre and so strange. And yet it is melodic. It is present. It's kind of ahead of its time. You listen to this and you're like, Heroes and Villains, one of the greatest songs ever recorded, Good Vibrations, ditto to that. Fuck yeah. Good Vibrations maybe not belonging here or maybe belonging here. It's arguable, you guys. It is a debate, but I, Clark the Shark, look at this and I say, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, take it or leave it, you guys. All in all, a brick in the wall. All in all is all we are, like Blake Douchebag once uttered, you guys. It is what it is. The Beach Boys, these fabulous geniuses, incredible talent. It's not just Brian Wilson, you guys. It's a democracy. Just as I said when I reviewed Wild Honey and Friends and all those other incredible albums, Surf's Up, Carl and the Passions, Pet Sounds. I'm not even going to talk about that because that is one of the greatest albums of all time. It goes without reviewing or saying. I may review Pet Sounds someday. What's the point? That album's fucking amazing. But this album is interesting more than amazing. And I call it the whole session recording block, late 66, 1967. Smile, the project, which was later completed, and Smiley Smile, this album, which is really totally different from Smile, and yet very much one and the same. Similar enough to where I, Clark the Shark, I will put this all in a hat and say this is like Lifehouse by The Who, maybe kind of like the Beatles' White Album or something. It's one big, happy, dysfunctional family of songs. And you can tell that the drugs and just the late 60s turmoil and stress and all the problems with his dad that Brian Wilson was going through. Just the hatred for his dad is riveting, and you can feel it in all these albums, you guys. It really is very present, tense, and dangerous. This guy could have imploded or long ago or killed himself or just died on drugs. I'm not kidding. I don't know how Brian Wilson is still here. I perfectly understand how Dennis Wilson is gone. I do. Maybe Carl Wilson too. These guys partied. We're talking alcohol, drugs, probably more than any other band in history, you guys. These guys were a wreck. There were some guys in the band, working out, going to the gym, and then looking at the others and come on, you guys, you got to be like me. You got to eat right, eat your vegetables, take your vitamins. And at the same time, come Friday, Saturday night, they're just getting fucking hammered and doing and experimenting with all kinds of drugs right here on the Clark the Shark Show. But maybe it was all meant to be by the good Lord, because we won't have incredible albums like Wild Honey and Friends, and Smiley Smile and Smile and Pet Sounds from the fabulous, amazing Beach Boys. I guess it all had to be, it was all meant to be right here on the Clark the Shark Show. I do want you to buy all albums by the Beach Boys. And I want you to tell people that you heard it on the Clark the Shark Show. And if you're only 18 today in 2024, I think you were born in 2006 or something like that. You are the one I want you to get into the Beach Boys, because you were born 5 years after 9/11, when Mohammed Atta and those Al-Qaeda terrorists flew those jets into my Twin Towers right here on WABC Radio, New York. The Clark the Shark Show, #1 syndicated worldwide radio talk show host for politics, music, and brain surgery, you guys. I don't want to call it psychological nudity, because that's Michael Savage. He might send me a mean email, but I will say for nudity, Clark the Shark me, because I'm picturing all of you out there naked when you listen to me, Clark the Shark. Now, don't go do anything in the bathroom kinky, I didn't say that. I just picture you naked listening to me, Clark the Shark. And I'm sorry, but I do. You can call that creepy or whatever. But I definitely want you to listen to the Beach Boys naked. Smile, Smiley Smile, all of these albums, the expanded version with Brian Wilson. What would this all have sounded like if, like, Phil Spector had done it, like, it would have been like fucking piece of shit, like, let it be, Clark the Shark. It's why I let it rot naked. I had to take off all the Phil Spector. And I'm like, Dirk McQuickley, dude, you should have fucking left all the Phil Spector shit on, because it sounded better right here on the Clark the Shark Show. This probably could have even gotten better with Phil Spector, you guys. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But either way, I want you to buy it. Make sure you do it. Amazon, iTunes, Spotify, everywhere where they sell music online. And you tell them you heard it at Little Sharky's underground garage, baby. Not Little Steven Silvio. Forget him, dude. I've discovered he only knows about maybe 10 bands. Me, Little Sharky, it's a much bigger encyclopedia brain. My fucking brain is like AI or some shit. It knows much more about music than fucking anybody in the history of mankind. And I'm not saying that makes me better than all of you. Who knows? Maybe it makes me worse. It's mainly because I had no friends or something, and I had too much time on my hands, as like Styx would say. And it gave me lots of time in my room at 251 Paseo de Gracia back in Redondo and Torrance. It gave me lots of time to listen to music. And thank God that I did, so I could listen to shit like Frank Zappa and Brian Ferry and Rush and the Beatles' Revolver and the Who, Tommy, and Smiley Smile and Smile by Brian Wilson and the Beach Boys. Make sure you buy it, you guys. And I'm out of here. Peace.